Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, so if you guys watched my last moto vlog, I was not wearing gloves. I'm still not wearing gloves because while I was rambling aimlessly and mindlessly and on the last moto vlog, I thought of another moto vlog topic, something that's actually really important, something that I was thinking about on my way to pick up my bike. I was like, yes, I am going to talk about this. And I get to my bike and I'm just like, oh, my bike. It's like, I'm like a puppy, just like, forget whatever was going on. And so, yeah, I forgot what was going on, forgot what I was going to talk about, but now I remember, so I figure it's a good time to go ahead and talk a little bit about the presidential debate tonight, the Democratic presidential debate tonight. I know some of this people might be like, oh, it's time to turn this shit off. We're gonna start talking about politics. I hate politics. And I get that. I completely understand. I think we've all been fairly jaded from time to time with some of our leadership. And it's both sides. It's everybody. It's not just one party or the other. It's everybody. And a lot of people get frustrated with it, or they say, oh, well, my vote doesn't count, or blah 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 blah. It really doesn't matter because my vote doesn't count anyway. Or, oh, well, I live in a red state, and I'm going to vote Democrat, so my vote doesn't actually count, or blah blah blah. And that's not true. That's not true. Your vote absolutely does count, because if you think about it, just think of everybody on your side were to just start thinking that, start saying, hey, my vote doesn't count, so I'm not doing anything with it. That would be terrible. That would be, then obviously your person's going to lose, whoever you're voting for. But it's also cool. It's also not cool to be like, hey, do you, but really when it all comes down to it, checking out of the system and just not being involved whatsoever, not being informed, on what's what, and kind of only getting your stuff from different little sound bites here and there. That's not good either, where am I? I find myself asking that of myself a lot. I bet this goes somewhere. This has to go somewhere. I don't see a dead end sign. This has to go somewhere. Anyway, but yeah, to completely check out and say, hey, I'm just not going to be involved, or I'll vote, but, if you're only getting your information from one source, or if you're only, finding out about these people just be these little silly little sound bites that don't really represent who they are or what they do, or how they'll represent you, then that's not good either. Or if you just kind of tick the boxes up and down, oh, well, he has a D beside his name, he's obviously going to be a good candidate. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. Oh, well, he has a R beside his name, so he's the best for America. That's not true either. That might, well, not necessarily. So anyway, getting back to it, debate is tonight. It's going to be interesting, I think, because really, these first debates, they're all, first debates are just kind of prepackaged. They're a little bland, but at the same time, they're very methodical in all their answers. They pre-plan everything, and you also get to see, it's the first time that the candidates really get to interact with each other, instead of just, you know, hearing of each other, essentially. And that's kind of cool, because it's kind of like, it's almost like they've been writing letters in between each other, you know, back and forth, but this is like actually being in front of each other and having a conversation. Well, it is being in front of each other and having a conversation. It's not like it, because it isn't. Or it is like it because it is it. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, I really think that that this is really going to be interesting. If anything, because we really get to see who these people are. They really get to lay it all out there for all of us. Well, at least all of us with cable. I can go on and on about how I think that's kind of wrong. That those of us that don't have cable, well, I mean, I have cable, but those of us as in my fellow Americans that don't have cable, you know, don't get to watch this, which is really messed up. But anyway, that's a topic for another motovlog. It's just gonna be really cool. I'm very excited. I personally always get really, really excited when debate time comes around. You know, presidential debates, gubernatorial debates, all of them, because, you know, I really, really dig this politics stuff, man. I just think it's really cool that, I mean, not a lot of places get this kind of system, you know. And yeah, you can say, yeah, it's not perfect, and which it's not. It's far, far, far from being perfect. But man, it's still cool, you know. It's still so freaking cool that we live in a country where we can, like, you know, jump on in there and be a part of it and be involved and get out there and talk about our candidates and talk about, even, you know, say, if I wanted to be a candidate, if I wanted to run for office, you know, I could do it. I can go out there and say, and sign up and say, hey, you know, I'm going to go do this. I need some support, you know. Again, yeah, I'd be able to get support from my my constituency, you know, and that would be really cool. Oh, cyclists! You gonna let me over? You gonna let me by? Hey guys! They gave me mean mugs. Weren't too happy about that. But anyway, you know, I mean, I can run for office. I mean, like, look at this. You know, print up some signs, put some flyers on some doors, go knock on some doors, you know, press the flesh a little bit and politic. You know, you can do that. And I just think that's really cool. You know, I do think that it's also fascinating, the kind of stuff that goes on if you really keep up with what all goes on and what all goes into government, and even, let's just say, even, you know, I can't talk about some of you guys in other states. This is Georgia. I'm in Georgia. I'm in the Atlanta area of Georgia. And, you know, I keep up with a lot of these, you know, of our representatives and what they do and what's going on. And luckily I have a couple friends that, you know, I have a couple friends that work pretty closely with some of these guys. And, so I get to hear, you know, how these deals are worked out for, you know, to get something done for the community and for the people at large, for the taxpayers. And you know, it's all a compromise. I mean, because that's what it's all about. That's what, you know, our government is about, at least it's supposed to be. And, you know, sometimes there's some give and take, and not everybody's going to be happy 100% of the time. And you know, I think it's, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe it's a little bit naive. I don't know, but that I personally think that, you know, even if you don't get 100% of your way, it's still, to me personally, that's still not a loss. You know, it's because the thing is, okay, yeah, I might not be 100% happy with garbage cans. Got me thinking of, you know, the garbage pickup in my county. went from 2 days a week down to 1 day a week, and me personally, I think it's, that's cool, whatever, that's a good idea, save some money, and whatever. But there are a lot of people that aren't happy with that, even though it does save them money. Now that wasn't something that we were all allowed to vote on, but our elected representatives made the decision to do that, on our behalf and in our taxpayers' best interest by, saving us some money so we can put it towards other things, Now, disclaimer, in my county, our politicians are super, super corrupt. I mean, a lot of them make some of the Detroit politics. I hate to call it Detroit. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Detroit. But they make the Detroit politicians seem like pretty stand-up individuals. One of our county CEOs, he got indicted, going to jail, going to prison, I think. And the guy that they brought in the interim, kind of the temporary guy, he is probably about to get indicted for being corrupt. So we just can't get right. But yeah, anyway, going back to the whole politics, and I just think it's really cool that we get to hear what some of these folks say, and we get to ask them questions. And with social media out now, the other day I watched one of the candidates. I keep up with a couple of candidates on Facebook just because I might not necessarily support them, but I like to hear what they have to say, because you never know, they might change my mind, or they might just say something interesting, something that might be a valuable contribution to the overall conversation of our country. And it was really cool the other day. I got to watch one of the candidates. I saw a little Facebook update on my phone, and I was on my lunch break, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. And it was a live video stream from one of the candidates, and he was at some sort of conference where he got to get up and give his stump speech. For those of you that aren't familiar with American politics or how it works over here, and kind of an old school term, I guess, your stump speech is you get up there, you talk about the major issues that you focus on in your campaign and your kind of mindset, and you lay out your platform for what you want to do and how you're going to fix it and all that. And it's just a really cool way to really get to see what the politician is about, because they're just kind of given however many minutes or whatever length of time to just get up there and talk about what they want to talk about. And it's kind of like motovlogging, but it's a little bit more interactive, obviously, because there's an audience, and it gets pretty interesting. But anyway, so the candidate, he had a live stream from that, and I got to sit there and watch what he had to say live going out on the internet. I mean, how cool is that? Back in the day, you'd have to wait to hear a commercial or read about it in the paper or whatever, and now we can just boom, have it right there with us. I think that's just really cool. It's just really neat that we're able to do that nowadays. But yeah, anyway, one of the things I kind of wanted to touch on here, and this is where I'm going to kind of wrap it up a little bit with, is that sometimes it's really frustrating. A lot of times it's really frustrating to watch people that you've been behind, that you voted for, that you might have believed in, they might not do exactly what you want to do. And there are a lot of people that just poo-poo on them. They're all corrupt and and da 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 da, and some of them hate America and blah 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 blah. But I mean, let's all be honest that, you know, you have to have, number one, a fair amount of belief in what you're doing to even like put yourself out there to run, because obviously your whole life is under a microscope once you run, especially for national office. National office, statewide office, you're under a microscope, and not many of us would want to go through that. But you know, get involved. If you're not satisfied with what's going on, get involved. We have the internet. You know, we have there are all sorts of community groups. Let's go. There's all sorts of community groups. There's all sorts of, you know, you could join your local party if you felt, you know, inclined to one party or the other, or another party, or hey, cool, you know, a third party. All right, you know, go for it. Get involved and do something about it. You know, write your local politician. I mean, I can't tell you how many Facebook messages I send back and forth with, you know, a couple different mayors that I've reached out to. I mean, I've sent, you know, I'm going to call out one of them, the mayor of Sandy Springs, Rusty Paul. He's one of my Facebook friends. I've met him a couple times. He's a really nice guy, great mayor. Hey, Rusty, if you're watching, you know, he's interactive. He talks with people. He says, hey, this is what's going on in the city. This is what we're voting on. This is what we're doing. And, you know, he takes into account when people say, you know, hey, Rusty, that, you know, I don't quite like that idea. I don't think this is the way the city should go. He takes that into account. I mean, he talks about that kind of stuff in city meetings, and he'll, him and a couple of the council members will, you know, kind of consider those kind of things. Consider the public input. You know, other politicians have Facebook pages as well. You know, they do interact. They do get involved. Some of them are more so, you know, are more involved than others. And you know, some of them, you know, are really, of course, they're really busy guys. It's actually a lot of stuff to do, believe it or not. Being part of the system like that, and being in especially national government, it's a very busy time. But you know, yeah, so sometimes they'll have staffers. A lot of times they'll have staffers, you know, working their social media accounts and everything. But the thing is, your voice is still being heard. You know, write a letter, go old school. I mean, you know, do that. That's a good way to reach out, guys. You could also get involved with some different lobbying groups. There are some groups out there that really support a lot of people and a lot of causes that would be more than happy to have some volunteers. You know what? I'm just gonna go straight. Screw this. That would be really happy to have, you know, people to volunteer to do, you know, do work for them and do work with them, you know, and the thing is, you know, you have this cause that you're interested in, well, get involved. Oh, sweet, my horn works. Yes. Anyway, so random. But yeah, I mean, that's my main thing. You know, if you're dissatisfied, you know, it's cool to complain about it. It's cool to voice your complaints, and you know, I mean, obviously it's good to talk about the problem, because if there's a problem, you know, one of the ways of solving it is to talk about it. And yeah, but you know, don't stop at the talking part. Get out there and do something. You know, let's all work together to make this place better. You know, I mean, America, you know, America's freaking awesome. I mean, my personal opinion, you know, America is really, really fucking awesome. And it's way better than a lot of the other places around there. around this world. I mean, and probably in other worlds too, I suspect. And I mean, it's a great fucking country, but you know, it didn't get that way from us just sitting and talking about it. It got up, you know, it got that way from us getting up and doing something. You know, I mean, our founding fathers could have just sat there and talked about shit and you know, just kind of sat there and complained about it and not done shit. But, you know, they got up and said, hey, you know, F these dudes, and they went out there and did something about it. So, you know, let's just get up and do something. And anyway, one of those things, you know, just my little soapbox, I guess. That was my stump speech. That was my stump speech. Congratulations, you just heard a stump speech from Tuning Forks. Tuning Forks 2016, right? Thumbs up if you like that idea. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more videos, so yeah, subscribe. Give it a like if you liked it. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.